Alright, Shalom, Shalom. Real Hebrew Israelite coming week in, week out to prophesy the downfall of America and the society. I'm going to start out giving all praises and glory and honor to Yahweh Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai Ba'ashem, Rakakadash. Double honors to our apostles, the elders, and GMS and brothers that sincerely doing this work. And the few sisters that are listening and learning and being obedient to their husbands. This the brother Madazawa Yunya, aka Mataz. And I'm coming back with another quick video. And I'm gonna play this video about this dude, Anthony. And man, this is a hey man, these Israelite females is not ready for this type of stuff that's about to go down. And men, you dudes out here, you know, y'all gonna get jacked up too by people like this, man. It's coming, man. Yahweh Shem Yahushai is about to unleash a evil that you can't even comprehend on this earth. It's gonna be uncomprehendable. Jacob's trouble is going to be the worst judgment you will ever see in life. Ever. And these people that's about to come, it's going to be the worst people you will ever meet in your life. So, I'm going to let this video play. Give me a second. Alright, I'm going to let it play.
You think what caused you to choke her?
Partnership.
Friendship?
My girl, and now the acid solid into.
For 2 years, neighbors had been smelling a horrible smell on their street. They all thought the smell was coming from a sausage factory, but it was something much more sinister.
Give me a second.
This is the brutal story of Anthony Sowell. Anthony Sowell was born on August 19th, 1959, and he was raised in a severely abusive home. Anthony was only 11 years old when he started brutally assaulting his 10-year-old niece when they lived in the same house. When he turned 18, Anthony enlisted in the U.S. Marine Corps. He served 7 years and was honorably discharged in 1985. When he got back to Cleveland, Anthony started getting into some trouble with the law. His first offenses were minor, usually drugs and alcohol, but before long, he was turning to domestic violence. And in 1989, his dark side emerged. In 1989, Anthony was convicted of binding, gagging, and raping a 21-year-old pregnant woman in his home. He spent 15 years in prison for this crime. When Anthony got out, he tried really hard to stay out of trouble, but he quickly returned to his life of crime, and this time there would be no going back. A woman named Crystal Dozier was struggling with drug addiction. One of her 7 children had recently died, and she became addicted to drugs to help with the pain of that loss. Crystal was just trying to get by and to keep her head above water, but she was reeling. One day, Anthony lured Crystal into his house, promising that he had drugs. Once Anthony got Crystal into his house, he raped and murdered her. Over the next few years, Anthony continued his string of murders, but police weren't even on his trail. Anthony would usually target women who he didn't think would be reported missing. Usually it was women experiencing homelessness, drug addictions, or were involved in prostitution. Unfortunately, Anthony's strategy worked.
Retro Samsung at AT&T.
Most of the time, police weren't aware that his victims were even missing until their bodies were found. But some of his victims were reported missing, but cops didn't take these families seriously. It wasn't until almost a decade later that the true extent of Anthony's horrific crimes would come to light. In September of 2009, Latundra Phillips was headed to Anthony's house after he promised that he had drugs. Once she arrived to her house, she knew she had made a huge mistake. Before she knew what was happening, Anthony was on top of her, beating her and assaulting her. Eventually, he choked her out with an electrical cord until she passed out. But Latundra didn't die. She actually woke up. Once she was awake, things were fuzzy, but Anthony actually allowed her to just leave the house. But Latundra didn't want to go to the police because she still had drugs in her system, and Anthony had threatened to kill her if she told anyone. So she just walked away. About a month later, Anthony lured another woman named Sean Morris to his home where he promised her drugs and alcohol. She actually went to his house, got the drugs and alcohol, and left without anything happening to her. When Sean was out the door, she realized that she had left her ID in the house and went back in. When she went back inside, Anthony jumped her and attempted to assault her. Sean got free and ran completely naked to a third-story window in his house and jumped out. This is when Anthony's neighbors called 911 because someone had seen Sean basically fall naked out of a third-story window. But Sean also refused to speak to police. But this is when something incredible happened. LaTundra Billups, the first woman Anthony let walk out of the house, finally decided to file a report against him.
We put 100...
When police got the report and realized that it was the same house the naked woman had fallen out of, they were able to get a warrant to search Anthony's house. But when police go to search it, they found a house of horrors. The first thing police notice is the stench. As they continue to search the house, they find at least 2 decomposing bodies in a really shallow grave in Anthony's basement. They continued their search and uncovered more and more bodies in the crawl space, 4 in the backyard, and 1 woman's skull wrapped in a paper bag and stuffed into a bucket. When police were finished, they found the partial remains of at least 11 women, but the only thing that was missing was Anthony. He wasn't home the time of the search, and he was absolutely nowhere to be found. Finally, 2 days later, he was located at a friend's house and arrested. When Anthony's neighbors hear about this, they were absolutely horrified, because there had been a terrible smell in the neighborhood for years. There was a sausage meat processing business in the neighborhood, and the neighborhood had been complaining that the smell was coming from the business. But the business owner would walk into his factory and wouldn't smell it at all. The smell was only outside. The man had spent over $20,000 on new plumbing to try to get rid of the smell, until the neighborhood learned the horrifying source of the smell. The community was outraged when police revealed that the first woman to be identified was Tonya Carmichael, and her death could have easily been prevented. Tonya had vanished in 2008 after she told a friend that she was going to go run a few errands. After she was gone for a really long time, Tonya's family reported her missing to the police. But because she was a drug user, they never followed up on any leads. Tonya's car was found in Anthony's neighborhood, but police still didn't do anything about it. Anthony was eventually convicted on 81 charges, including rape, kidnapping, abuse of a corpse, and 11 counts of murder. He was sentenced to death, but in the end was convicted of 11 counts of murder and spent his life behind bars. Anthony Sowell's house of horrors haunt those connected to this terrifying case to this day.
Yeah, man. So, that was a good little minute, but yeah, man. The judgment, and for the record, Esau, I was using that for educational purposes, wasn't nothing violent, nothing like that. It's educational purposes. Just had to throw that out there. But yeah, man, the things that's about to come, man, I'm about to get it. This is Ecclesiasticus 39 and 28. There be spirits that are created for vengeance, which in their fury lay on sore strokes. In the time of destruction, they pour out their force and appease the wrath of him that made them. That's exactly what that is, man. That was a spirit created for vengeance, and he went on for a good amount of years. To the point, it was a smell in the neighborhood. They didn't even know what it was. They thought it was the meat factory. And you saw how perfectly it was set up. His house was not too far from the meat factory, so they thought it was the meat factory. That the whole time stinking like that, this dude's coming out of money to try to get rid of the smell. He basically losing bread. So it was like judgment on that whole area, man. That whole area. And these females was getting judged. Hey, dude's gonna get judged too, because guess what? He ended up getting caught in the end. Yahweh Shem Yahushua used him up, and then it was time to get rid of him. It was judgment on them females, man. That was only on them. They had to get judged. 2 of them didn't get judged. Who knows? May get mercy. But hey, man, that was judgment. Verse 29, fire and hell and famine and death, all these were created for vengeance. Teeth of wild beasts and scorpions, serpents, and the sword punishing the wicked to destruction. Exactly, man. So destruction was coming to the wicked. Judgment. You're not going to get away from judgment. And this is the things that Yahweh Shem Yahushua said, man, dark times are coming, and these people are so naive to what's actually about to happen out here. You know, and it's people like Anthony, and guess what? They was about to send him to the death, you know, to give him the death penalty. They just got him locked up in prison for the rest of his life. So imagine this dude getting back out. They didn't even put him to death. They only got him locked up in prison for the rest of his life. So imagine this Anthony, people like Anthony coming out of prison. You know, that's what's about to happen. And it's going to be wild for you females, man. Because that dude is still alive to this day. So, wait until Yahweh Shem Yahushua release these people out of prison, man. This Amos 5:18. Woe unto you that desire the day of the Lord Yahweh. To what end is it for you? The day of the Lord Yahweh is darkness and not light. Ain't no light, man. It's going to be critical death. That is what's coming, man. Judgment. And Yahweh Shem Yahushua is not going to play around, man. He will unleash this judgment upon this place, man. And these people are going to see the wrath of Yahweh Shem Yahushua. It's going to be very wrathful, very vengeful. You're about to see this. Verse 19. As if a man did flee from a lion and a bear met him, or went into the house and laid his hand on the wall and a serpent bit him. Exactly, man. This is about to be the darkest times we coming to. Shall not the day of the Lord Yahweh be darkness and not light, even very dark, and no brightness in it? And yes, it's going to be that dark. And there ain't going to be no brightness in it. Nobody's going to come help you. The judgment that Yahweh Shem Yahushua is about to unleash on this place is about to be very, very horrific for you people, man. Who don't want to listen to the men of the Lord. Who don't want to hear what we've been telling y'all. The things that's coming. The people that's about to be out here. You know, these evil angels. You know, these demons that's about to be on these people, man. What's that? Sirach 78, I think. Yeah. 49. I mean, this is Psalm, Salakia. Psalm 78 and 49. He cast upon them the furious of his anger, wrath, and indignation, and trouble by sending evil angel amongst them. And that's what happened. Them people, them fucking females, Salakia, excuse my French, got evil angels sent amongst them for judgment. That's what happened, man. And Yahweh Shem Yahushua judged them. The same how these dudes are about to get judged out here as well. Ain't nobody gonna be able to escape the judgment of Yahweh Shem Yahushua. And then look how that man was living. Very nasty, man. That dude had nothing but demons. Then he grew up in a violent home when he was young, so he was always around violence, getting abused. Then, you know, they always try to paint the light like it wasn't a damn nigga female. You know his mother was the one raising him. And because, you know, a mother is the one who, mothers are the ones who usually teach you love in the house. But not these generation of females. They teach you hatred and anger, beating you. And then he went to the military, even worse. So it's like, this dude was all messed up in the head, man. His mind was already just gone. He was more violent, more angry. That dude was getting built up for this, for them judgment on them females on them particular day, and that's why the spirit of Yahweh Shem Yahushua spared them too, because he had to get his judgment. He got to get locked up, but to come out later, he gonna be back. You're gonna see Anthony again on his terror, and this time he gonna be eating people. Who knows if he wasn't already eating them? You know, you about to see some wild stuff, man. Give me a second. This is Matthew 24, and I'm gonna get to the point. Yeah, I'm gonna get to the point. Verse 21. For then shall be great troubles, such as was not since the beginning of the world to the time, nor even should be. Except those days should be shortened, then should no flesh be saved, but the elect's sake. Those days should be shortened because it's about to get wild. It's about to get wild out here, man. And how about Shem Yahushua? It's about to give you a time that you had never seen before. Judgment. That's what's coming to this place. Death. You know? People are going to be getting put to death, man. And I always got to bring out my favorite one, Ezekiel 14 and 21. It's one of my favorites. For thus saith the Lord Yahweh, how much more when I send my four-sword judgment upon Jerusalem, the sword and the famine and the noisome beast and pestilence to cut off from the man and beast. How much more he gonna send these judgments before you to get right with Yahweh Shem Yahushua? You know? So judgment is about to go throughout the whole earth, man. And it's not gonna be a game. The times that's coming, the times that we coming to, it's gonna be very horrific. Jeremiah 30 and 7. Alas, for that day is great, so there is none like it. It is even the time of Jacob's trouble, but he should be saved out of it. Only the elect is going to get saved out of these judgments that are about to come to this place. And that's it. Matter of fact, I got to start up. Verse 5, for thus saith the Lord Yahweh, we have heard a voice of trembling, of fear, and not of peace. Ask ye now, and see what rather a man doeth travail with child. Because these people, these grown dudes are going to be so scared, they're going to be having their hands on their stomach like they got a child, man. They're going to be afraid. They're going to be afraid. Wherefore do I see every man with his hands on his loins, as a woman in travail, and all faces are turned into paleness. And that happened actually on this show called Baki, on the new Baki Hanan, whatever, I'm saying his last name wrong. But it happened on that show, and this man was afraid. They said, dang, this man had fear in him. And he was a strong, big dude. And they said he had the fear in him that never been seen before after he ran into this dude that was fighting back then, and very long time ago. He was still alive because he was frozen, and then he got woke back up. And he ended up killing that man and eating that man. But man, these are the horrific things that are coming to America. Judgment. These people are going to be afraid in these days that are coming. That's why Esdras said, woe is me, who should deliver me in those times? Because, man, it's about to get nasty out here, man. Nasty. You about to see so much judgment. You know? It ain't going to be no game, man. In fact, I'm going to get that. I'm going to try to get a little close to the point. You know what? Yeah, I'm going to just get to start at 17, the second there to 16, 17. Woe is me. Woe is me. Who will deliver me in those days? The beginning of sorrow and great mournings. The beginning of famine and great deaths. The beginning of wars, and the power shall stand in fear. The beginning of evils. What shall I do when these evils shall come? Exactly, man. It's about to be crazy out here, man. Crazy. You know? It ain't gonna be no game to you people who didn't want to listen to the man of the Lord. You know? And judgment is coming. You're not gonna be able to escape these, man. You know, so these people, all these things that's gonna happen, these people gonna still be wicked. So, man, judgment is coming, man. So I'm about to close this out with that. I want to give all praise and glory and honor to Yahweh Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai Ba'ashem, Rakakadash. Double honors to our apostles and elders and GMS and brothers that's sincerely doing this work. And the few sisters that are listening, learning, and being obedient to their husband. Keep pushing and doing the work. Shalom, Barak, and a Bible ball.